riding, making the music sing, man. I love it. Peter Holstrauss of disrupteducation.co. For those who don't know, got the cup at all times, the branding at all times. Make sure you check him out. He's on Spotify. He's on TikTok. He's on Instagram. TikTok's not banned yet, so make sure you're on
Nah,
TikTok
man.
too.
Yeah,
Right? Right?
I think we're gonna go there with your company talk here and then politics because that was in
Hey,
the news.
Hey, there's a lot going on, man. And, dgsacks.com here for those who don't know me. Thanks for tuning in. But, these are conversations we have every week. And, one of the things I try to do is really keep up on what's going on in the news.
Mhm.
Saw a post today on Instagram. Joe Biden is wanting to raise capital gains up to 44%,
Mhm.
which for those who know what capital gains is, like, you take an investment. Once that investment is sold, there's a portion in which Uncle Sam will then receive back. And, those are real things that you got to factor into when you're investing and thinking about, okay, what's my return on investment, right? So I'm curious for you from an education standpoint, Mr. Hostrauser, you've got a lot of entrepreneurs that are coming up in the high school system right now. They've got a bunch of different ideas. How are you, utilizing current events and things that are going on and really letting your students know, like, hey, this is something you should be looking at too, because it could influence something that you're working on.
Right. Well, right now I'm just calming them down because they're not happy.
Okay.
I mean,
All
I
right.
don't want to
All
pick
right.
a side, but when people start taking
Yeah.
money out of people's pockets, especially
Yeah.
youth's pockets, because this
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
generation
Yeah.
is investing, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they
So
they
true.
are they're putting money into all kinds of things, and they're
Yeah.
interested. And when I say this generation, I'm talking about the kids who are 18 and older who are able to do
Sure.
this. So I have a lot of seniors who have either Robinhood accounts or any kind of account,
Man. Whew.
right now, doing those things. And, I mean, I like the fact that the number one, they're doing it, but I also like the fact that, they are they're showing emotion towards, politics, because when I was a kid, like, it was like, I don't even know what was going on. I grew up in
Right.
the late 80s. So like, it was just inflation was out the, going crazy. Reaganomics was
Yeah.
happening. Whether you
Yeah.
love it or hate it, I mean, I didn't even know what was going on until like I started looking back into my own political kind of history of what was
Yeah.
happening when I was growing up. So these kids get it. I think one of the things that I do as an educator is just, we have conversations, right?
Right.
We don't really get into the divisiveness. We're like, what's going to work better for you? And then we start talking about that. And then, you know,
Yeah.
I don't go that deep into like a history or social
Sure.
studies or political science.
Sure.
However, I challenge them to, when they go into those courses, I mean, I got a lot
Yeah.
of friends who are history and social studies teachers, just have the conversation, right? Put it out
Yeah.
there, start talking about things,
Yeah.
because this affects you, right? And
Absolutely.
again, I think with all the information that's out there, I think that this generation they're more connected. They're also more susceptible to false information. However,
Hmm.
they're interested in information like that.
Sure.
And, they start connecting with different things, especially, politics and such. So, as a person, and you and I, we both live in Illinois. I mean, I have
Yeah.
a lot of students who are looking to go out of state because of the politics here.
Sure.
So that's just they're paying attention. And
It's
again,
good.
it's I just have to challenge them with questions. So why would you? Why
Sure.
would you not? Like, what would
Yeah.
make you stay? What would make you go? Do you think that higher percentage is fair on your trade?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, it's interesting because they want more and more things, but
Right.
some of the things they want are paid for by the government. So we have to find that balance. So that's kind of the way
Yes.
I look at it in a business sense. As a teacher, in a school, I know maybe there are some teachers that do it, but you have to
Yeah.
remain neutral as much as possible, right? And I
Sure.
know my
Yeah.
politics, and I know that there are differences of opinions in our school, but I don't really go there. I just challenge and start asking questions, key questions to get kids to talk about it. So yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. But man, you touch a teen's money, man, they.
Yeah.
Taxes, man. They do not like taxes. I don't care
Yes.
if they're left or right. They do not like taxes.
No, you're absolutely right, and I think you bring up some valid points. I just love the fact that you're challenging students by asking questions, which is so key
Mhm.
to, leading by example in the education space of, like, listen, like, you got to stay curious on these things. You don't know what you don't know. But understand how it may correlate with what you are involved in. I mean, you're telling me that students are getting involved with Robinhood accounts and investment accounts
Mhm.
at the age of 18. Me looking back, man, I'm so happy to hear that that's what's happening now. And now what I am curious to know is, from those conversations, and maybe some of the, discouragement that some people are having because of some of the things they're hearing, right? I'm
Mhm.
curious, like, how are you keeping, students in the game, right? Like, how are you
Mhm.
making sure that they're not getting discouraged by those things as much as possible? I mean, obviously, I know it's not completely in your control, but how are you making sure they stay motivated and are continuing to look forward?
Yeah, that's a good. You understand. Like, let me go even closer, knit. Like when they have something,
Yeah,
a challenge with the school, right? Why don't
yeah,
we go 4-day weeks, or why are we not on this different
yeah.
schedule, or why don't we get these days off? And I'm like, these are great questions.
Mm,
And I have my opinions. However,
right,
that's a school board, so that's your number one place where you can start to have conversations. You can do it in the school, but like,
right.
you have a responsibility, if you want to make change, to actually utilize your right to vote, utilize your right to go to these
Yeah,
meetings, and even locally. And the tax codes, and real estate, taxes and all that. I mean, there's a
yeah,
local piece to that. There's a local
right.
county, and it goes forward to state. And you just have those conversations, and everything, really revolves around business. And that's what I
Right.
that's what I like to talk to the kids about is, okay, well,
Yeah.
you don't want this to happen. Well, how bad do you not want it to happen? So if you're
Mm,
willing to go to a meeting, or go to have a coffee with your congressperson, or something like
yes.
that, then now you can make, like, this is the way it works. And
Right.
kids will be like, oh, it's not fair. And I'm like, well, number one rule in life, it ain't fair, right? I mean, everybody's going to have their
That's a
hands in your
bar.
pockets, but it brings out like life
Yeah.
lessons with kids. So that's kind of the way I get them to constantly look forward. And a lot of them will be around their buddies, and they'll be like, "Oh, I ain't going to go to that meeting or whatever." But until
Right.
the
Right.
pain gets hard enough, then you'll start making moves, and it might not be while they're in high school. It,
Yeah.
it might even not even be at their next level of education, but it'll definitely be sometime in their life where, you know, I teach kids to act on their
Yeah.
beliefs, rather than just sitting back and, getting into like an echo chamber online or something. That does nobody good. And, it's
Right.
funny because I think they've seen previous generations do that.
Yeah.
And that's how I encourage them to keep going. The tax changes, it depends on who's in office. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. It just depends on who's in there. And, these things don't last.
Yep.
So, if
Yep.
you can ride a storm out, ride a storm out, and, understand that this economy goes up and down all the time. And
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Last thing I'll say is this is a tough time for students, because since 2008, you think about, my sophomores were born in 2008, and seniors were 2006. And
Yeah.
there was a crash. And then from that point on, the market just kept going up, prosperity, all
Right.
this stuff. And now we're feeling the effects of, inflation, and
Yeah.
they've never seen that before. They're seeing
Right. Right.
$5, a gallon gas, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, what's happening here?"
What's going
And
on?
it's just
Yeah.
it's part of the rotation. So you kind of got to, let
Absolutely.
them know, hey, you're going to ride it out. There's ups and downs. It always doesn't go up.
That's it. And I think the last thing, I took away from this, and I appreciate you sharing this, is not only how bad do you want it, but, like, how bad do you really want to know, right?
Mhm.
And from my personal experience, I was just out in Vegas last week, and first stop I made was actually at a music shop that I bought a custom mouthpiece back when I was in high school, and got a chance to see the music shop in person. I talked to one of the co-owners of the store, and he really gave me a breakdown of, like, different sounding saxophones based on the material. This is what this saxophone is going to sound like. It, the color is just simply a cosmetic. A lot of times
Mhm.
people look at the saxophone, like, "Ooh, I like the black and gold. I like this color." But when you start to really understand how it impacts what
Mhm.
you do as a creator and what you're looking to, put out there in the universe, you then start to ask yourself, how does that align with the things that you're trying to accomplish and the things that you want to create for yourself?
Mhm.
So I just say all that to say, whoever's out here listening to this, if you are a creator, take that next step to dig a little bit deeper, and you'd be surprised what you're going to find by doing that, and you will reap the benefits of taking that extra step. It's going to be a lot more rewarding than you may anticipate. You may think in the given moment, oh, this isn't really going to move the needle, but trust me, it will. And it's important to us progressing as a society when it comes to disrupting education and continuing to further music and all types of creations. So appreciate you sharing your
Hey.
perspective. For those who don't follow Mr. Hostrawser, Peter at Hostrawser.co, disrupteducation.co, I should
Mhm.
say. But you can follow him on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, you name it. I'm DG Sachs. Till next time, we appreciate you all tuning in.
All right, guys.